Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Mirza Panda. My registration number is 2105070668. I am from the English Literature Department from the University of North Sumatra. In this video, I want to explain to you guys about the IPA or International Phonetic Alphabet and the Generative Phonology. Okay, the first one I want to explain is about the IPA or International Phonetic Alphabet. The International Phonetic Alphabet is an alphabetic system of phonetic notation based primarily on the Latin script. It was devised by the International Phonetic Association in the late 19th century as a standardized representation of speech sound in written form. The history of IPA. In 1886, a group of French and British language teachers, led by the French linguist Paul Passy, formed what would be known from 1897 onwards as the International Phonetic Association. Their original alphabet was based on a spelling reform for English known as the Romic alphabet, but to make it usable for other languages, the value of the symbols were allowed to vary from language to language. Since its creation, the IPA has undergone a number of revisions. It is from 1819 to 2005. Extensions to the International Phonetic Alphabet for speech pathology were created in 1990 and were officially adopted by the International Clinical Phonetics and Linguistics Association in 1994. The three tables are the genealogy of the international phonetic tables that we know today. However, until this year, there have been many revisions in the determination of the International Phonetic Table. The alphabet has undergone a number of revisions during its history, the most significant of which was proposed at the Kiel Convention in 1989. Changes to the alphabet were proposed and discussed in the organ of the association, the Journal of the International Phonetic Association, formerly known as Le Maitre Phonetic and previously as Teacher of Phonetics, and later elected by the Association Board. An extension to the IPA for speech disorders was created in 1990, with the first major revision approved in 2016. In 2016. The division of the alphabet above is the earliest alphabet in the world of phonetics, starting from three languages, namely English, French, and German. In the August until September 1889 issue of its journal, the Phonetic Teachers Association published a standardized alphabet intended for transcription of multiple languages, reflecting its members' consensus that only one set of alphabet ought to be used of all languages, along with a set of 6 principles. Number 1. There should be a separate sign for each distinctive sound, that is, for each sound which, being used instead of another in the same language, can change the meaning of a word. Number 2. When any sound is found in several languages, the same sign should be used in all. This applies also to very similar shades of sound. Number 3. The alphabet should consist as much as possible of the ordinary letters of the Roman alphabet, as few new letters as possible being used. Number 4. In assigning values to the Roman letters, international use should decide. Number 5. The new letters should be suggestive of the sounds they represent by their resemblance to the old ones. And the last, number 6, diacritic marks should be avoided, being trying for the eyes and troublesome to write. Okay? Throughout the first half of the 1900s of the year, the association published a series of booklets outlining the specifications of the alphabet in several languages, the first being a French edition published in 1900 of the year. During the 1890, the alphabet was expanded to cover sounds of Arabic and other non-European languages which did not easily fit in the Latin alphabet. In the 1904 Aim and Principles of the International Phonetic Association, the first of its kind is English. Following 1904, sets of specification in French appeared in 1905 and 1908 with little to no change. The second English booklet appeared. For the first time, labial sounds were shown on the left and laryngeal ones on the right. In 1921, Exeter Phonetic internationally introduced new letters, some of which were never to be seen in any other booklet. The book also mentioned letters already commonly used in special works, some of which had long been the part of the IPA, but others which have not yet been definitively adopted. Paul Passy recognized the need for letters for the various cliques in the July until August of 1914 number of Le Maître Phonetic and asked for suggestions. This number, however, was the last for some years because of the war. During this interval, Professor Daniel Jones himself invented the four letters in consultation with Paul Passy, and they were all four printed in the pamphlet Lecture Phonetic Internationally, published in 1921. The 1921 book was the first in the series to mention the word phoneme. In April 1925, 12 linguists, led by Otto Jespersen, including IPA Secretary Daniel Jones, attended a conference in Copenhagen and proposed specification for a standardized system of phonetic notation. The proposals were largely dismissed by the members of the IPA Council. Nonetheless, the following edition recommended by the conference were approved in 1927. In 1928, some letters are approved into the table, and an update chart appeared as a supplement to the Le Maître Phonetic in 1932. And then, a new chart appeared in the 1947, reflecting minor developments up to the point. The 1949 Principles of the International Phonetic Association was the last installment in the series until it was superseded by the Handbook of the IPA in 1999. It introduced some new specifications. And then there are some additions in 1948, and then 1951, and then in 1979 a revised chart appeared, incorporating the developments in the alphabet which were made earlier in the decade. By the 1980s, phonetic theories had developed so much since the inception of the alphabet that the framework of it had become outdated. To resolve this, at the initiative of IPA President Peter Ledevok, approximately 120 members of the IPA gathered at the convention held in Kiel, West Germany in August 1989 to discuss revisions of both the alphabet and the principle it is founded upon. It was at this convention that it was decided that the Handbook of the IPA, or International Phonetic Alphabet Association, in 1999 would be written and published to supersede the 1949 principles. In addition to the revisions of the alphabet, two work groups were set up, one on computer coding of IPA characters and computer representation of individual languages, and the other on pathological speech and voice quality. And then there are some drastically renewed chart of the alphabet reflecting decisions made at the convention appeared later in the year. Following the 1989 revision, A number of proposals of revision appeared in the Journal of the IPA, which were submitted to the Council of the IPA, and in 1993, the Council approved some of the changes. The 1999 Handbook of the International Phonetic Association was the first book outlining the specifications of the alphabet in 50 years, superseding the 1949 principles of the IPA. It consisted of just over 200 pages, 4 times as long as the principles. And then there are a little change in 2005, and then there are some change in 2011, but in 2012, the IPA chart and its subparts were released under the Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike 3.0 unported license. And then in 2016, 3 versions of revised chart dated 215 were released online, each with the characters rendered in a different typeface. In 2018, another slightly modified chart in different fonts were released, this time also in TEX-TIPA Roman developed by Rei Fukui, which was selected as best representing the IPA symbol set by the association's alphabet, charts, and font line committee, established the previous year. And then the last, in 2020, another set of charts were released, with the only change being minor adjustments in the layout and Creative Commons icon replacing the copyright sign. Okay, and Creative Commons icons replacing the copyright sign. Okay, now I want to explain about the generative phonology. Generative phonology is a component of generative grammar that assigns the correct phonetic representations to utterances in such a way to reflect a native speaker's internalized grammar. Crystal, in 2008, states that the term generative is introduced by Noam Chomsky in his book Syntactic Structures from 1957 to denote the capacity of a grammar to define the set of grammatical sentences in a language. Generative phonology was the creation of Noam Chomsky and Maurice Hell, both to be professors in the Department of Modern Language and Linguistics and later Department of Linguistics and Philosophy at MIT. Other instances of generative phonology are not seen in the actual formation of words, but in the way they are pronounced. American English, for instance, contains a phonological rule known as the flapping rule, which states that a T sound become a flap R before an unstressed vowel. So the last I told to you guys, so that is the example of generative phonology. Okay, that's all from me for my explanation of the IPA, International Phonetic Alphabet, and the generative phonology. I'm sorry if I know I have some mistakes. I had some mistakes in my acts or in my words, and I'm sorry to all of you guys, and thank you for listening to the video. And the last I say Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.